Cool, should be good.
I hate to do this, but I'm calling back to the predictions from our America's talent coming into this series. And unanimously, we expected G2 to be dominant in this game, ultimately win the series. Now, Pearl, they did manage to recover, but man, it took some serious work. It took that, I don't know, level of grit, determination, and pedigree from Valen that we rarely see from other teams around the world to get them there. They are going to come into this second half on split behind. They tried a couple of ways to disrupt Leviathan, but now they get to go on the attack side. Wyatt, G2 get to set the rules of engagement, set the pace now.
And it looks like the pace will be pretty quick towards this A side. Noise made early. Jaw taking a lot of spam. Oh my god, the damage is crazy coming out from blows with that Sheriff. Jaw at 16. Dre was lit up a little bit as well. I mean, more than a little bit. A little bit is in 96 damage.
Yeah. Pretty devastating, especially when push comes to shove and Leviathan actually go for this fight. He'll have no idea what he's done until the end of the round. Blows. Sheer wall, Spike. Isolated and still wins the fight. Yep. That's it.
Jaw on the rewrap gets caught. The paranoia was good to get in. Leaf is up close. There's some disconnection from these G2 players that's being exploited by Leviathan.
Valen!
One enemy remains.
Oh my god.
He's found four. That is ridiculous and it's still not enough. Bro just got 66% of his kills for the game. That's ridiculous. Even King's got to respect it.
Yeah, he's got to respect it, but he stood up for that one. Still talking some trash. That's the rivalry that we talk about, these teams being 4-4 against each other. Lev have gone through a lot more significant roster changes, different iterations than this G2 team, but the one common denominator of Leviathan has been King. And he's gone up against G2 8 times, this being the 9th, on the cusp of taking the lead there and getting into another America's final.
And it's not been since 2024 since this team has really pushed G2, so it's really challenged them. They won 3-1 in that Stage 2 final in 2024.
Last year, well, it was all struggles for Lev. King couldn't find his fitting. There were awkward role swaps. G2 were the dominant force of Americas, insurmountable. And now they need to go for a forced buy to try and recover in this game. It's a big risk. They're going right back into this fast A-site exec. Jaw gets the space. Not a lot of damage from anyone on defense this time, not like the last round. And it's more proactivity from G2. They want to get all the way up into screens.
King wary of this star just ahead of him and how it could disrupt his ability to
no
punish a
matter
push.
what.
He can clear that close right side corner.
There are going to be a couple judges on this retake for Lev. That
Paranoia is really
There's
good.
a snake bite. Needs to extract himself. He sort of can, but Sada's already found Joy to the side. We go! That is disgusting from Spike! Again, the kind of filth that he produces with uncanny frequency. And he'll snatch the round up for Lev.
Relay bolt is perfectly placed, but man, what was going on in screens? Jaw tried to peek out to help, but he gets caught by Sato. And then Leaf, who was in the corner, took a little bit of damage from that snake bite, dealt with by King, who was very patient and found the exact right timing to win that 1v1 while the rest of the team just flooded into sight. G2 not getting significant positioning around the map. They're not able to do anything towards ramp whatsoever. That's where Lev come flooding back into the site from the little hold in screens. Not enough. King is aware. He's got them pinned in that corner. G2 just don't get the map control. They're all congested on that site.
Jumping into a tech pause here briefly. As our chairs are being reclined. Looks like it might be a pretty minor issue, if at all. Some conversation on the G2 side of the stage. Mouse issue is being cited, so it shouldn't be too long. Usually it's just a charge issue with those. But again, G2, they know they still have to deal with this unrelenting pressure from Leviathan. Even though they're on the attack side, those retakes still give Lev an opportunity to pop onto those sites, to make use of Spike's ability just to run straight through them. It's really hard to hold your ground. You saw what Spike did, slid past two players, blew them both up with the judge.
And look, G2 might be getting some PTSD. You mentioned Nongshim.
Yep.
Damn, he was doing some filthy things to this team with the judge on split. And now Spike is just running around cooking them with it too.
And I don't think there are many teams in Americas that can handle that aggression as well as G2 can, but every round is just not something you can count on. Here we go, up to the B side. Jaw takes a Minor amount of damage on the push. Now the isolation, though, with the molly. Sato helping out from heaven. Yeah, chalk this one up, folks. It is pretty cooked.
Yep, low buy for G2. They are destroyed. Trying to close the distance on Neon. He's so good with this Omen util. Connects that paranoia, and then he just has the Haunt coming straight through. The molly onto main. Sato's flashing out to help him. Right there to pick up that crossfire angle.
An important timeout called there, or rather, we just come out of a tech pause here, so G2 haven't really had a chance to chat so much. Last map, Josh had to use his timeouts in that first half, and it paid off. Really gave them a staging ground to work with. There's a question of how you want to make use of them.
Performing how you should be.
Chasing a 5-round lead.
On attack side split, no less.
30 seconds left.
Against a team that have been having an incredible stage, have sick aimers, have tons of confidence. Can G2 bounce back on a second map in this series?
The dangerous waters.
We know they have the resiliency. We have seen G2 make
over and over
countless
and over again.
comebacks over the last couple years. Can they do it again?
This team feels like it's much harder for them to read. Look at this stall, the delay with the molly. Sato is picture perfect in that moment.
So easy for Neon to hold there. Most of the players on G2 just with the Sheriffs as well. All right, no ults here for Leviathan into this round. G2 could play around the Cosmic Divide from Valen, perhaps. Maybe a clash in B main, depending on how aggro Lev want to get with this. But perhaps just going to be some kind of trap play. Flash will slide out, but the Haunt is nice.
Do they try and refight into this space to take care of Spike? No, G2 don't care that much for B main. They realize now that this leaves mid a little bit lighter. That's a little bit of damage there from King. It's an interesting round to bring the Outlaw into.
Only one player with the light armor is Valen, but still, you'll take that 140 damage hit.
They're swarming over them. They're everywhere.
Awkward as it gets in that 1v1. Leaf needed that.
That's the G2 lurk now dealt with. Leviathan aggressive in B main, pivoting back to mid, and now G2 might have gotten ahead of this.
Yeah, and they're running the bait, not the Sky. No heal for Jaw. He's getting in with 10 HP trying to entry into this site.
Neon knows he's in. He knows full well he's going to have to deal with that spike. With the flash of Sato gets into the site, and now he's in the perfect spot for this judge.
Yeah, this game's over.
G2 trying to get out of B main. Again, just getting collapsed on by Lev. The util coming in, and then all of the players right behind it. No fear. And just stuffing them in that choke point, giving them no room to breathe.
You're kicking yourself into a lead.
Yeah, that 1v1 was pretty unfortunate to lose. Pretty unfortunate. Neon is doing such a great job as well of just living on this site. He's not going down. He's not feeling a ton of pressure.
Now we have the G2 timeout.
Yeah, and you're going to want to get that off when we're at 11, and you've got 5 rounds on the board. I believe there could be an outlaw as well that they're going to have to deal with on this buy. Look, the G2 team, they came into this series being the massive favorite. Everyone predicted them to win. The fan poll was like 80%. this area on the map.
I don't hate the insert here in male because Leviathan tend to just put all three players either in mid or in B main. They just switch them back and forth.
And also look at the little arc rows that Baby Bay has given Leaf, so he can pop that and he can try to swing out into heaven while this action goes down in main. It's raw contact, and because of that, King takes a lot of damage holding the cross.
Thought he might be isolated, but Neil's able to fight for him at the very least. It's Leaf, though, in the mix with the stinger. Sato always dangerous from this spot. And I don't think this is going to be enough from Valen. He's able to bring Sato down at least low as he is.
No way.
Spike v Trent. No spike plant. Wall still in play, and you don't want to be on the rope at a time like this. Spike puts him to bed, and G2's aspirations of the #1 seed might be about to follow.
It's all out of sorts in that clutch. The Cosmic Divide just creating such a chaotic situation. Trent didn't know where to look. The play from G2 was so nice. Leaf gets that timing into heaven. I believe there was a smoke for him to work through, or maybe it was just off that flash, but regardless, is able to get in, get the double backstab while G2 are coming out of main. It was another great set strat that Josh gives them out of that timeout. Even on the low buy, it was realistic to win. But now it's going to require 7 in a row, and Lev, pure confidence, immediate swing to get the advantage.
They just got everything there. They got 3 players revealed, got a kill off the swing. Neon's still alive. Sitting over this B side with the op. Chilling now, and we take mid. Leviathan move as a death ball. And they make G2 at every single impasse. There's a dive there for Spike.
All right, Chewy's really trying to close it out, but the rest of the team are there to do it regardless. Sato, man, lights them up.
It must have stung to go to Santiago, his home country, home city, and watch the other teams play Valorant. He was there as an invited guest, someone who could tell everybody where to go and visit, what the tourist spots were, but he couldn't play the game he loves. King had that fire in his belly to come into this stage and say, the next global that comes around, we will leave our mark. We will stamp our authority. First, it had to be on the competition here in Americas. Coming up against a team on a 10-map winning streak. G2 were expecting a dominant split showing from these young bloods who barely sat in their seats.
Doesn't matter how much footage is out on this Leviathan split. They are dominating everybody on that map. Absolutely flawless record there. This team are the real deal. We spoke, obviously, had to, about them beating G2 back in week 2 when G2 were playing the off-meta stuff. This time, no, they're on the comfort rolls. This is classic G2. And on Ascent, on Split, it wasn't even close. Control of the game in the hands of Lev the entire time. Neon showing out in those 2 victory maps as well. The dominance on Chamber, on Ascent, and now flexing over to the smokes roll in this stage.
Rod for community criticism for forever. Now with Zeppa stepping away from C9, he's like the only OG left with his original team in the entire scene.
And when you look at the X factors that brought them to Shanghai, and one of the ones in these playoffs as well, I looked at Cryo too. He was the only other player that was on that roster that went to China 2 years ago, and he's been excellent in these playoffs as well. The Cypher that he was playing on Fracture that they won in their last series was excellent. When he's playing the Chamber, he's been on point as well. But certainly the standout is Asuna, the franchise player. And his last match was just ridiculous. What really got me was the amount of ultimates he was getting online in pretty much this entire series. He had one round 3 at the very start, and then kept recycling, be it the Phoenix or the Raze, with those high impact ults.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly easy to get those ults online when you're getting 29 kills on the Raze, right? I think that the double duelist, double entry comp from 100 Thieves absolutely set him up. And, you know, it's been an agent he's been playing for literally forever. He was absolutely locked into that series where there's Ospas and Zekin on the other side of the server, and he's out here dipping them even after it's his, what is it, 2059th day playing in the league. It's just absurd.
Yeah, no, Asuna, not just, you know, because he's been a part of the team for such a long time, but it has been impressive to see him just continue to try and find ways to keep himself very much up to stuff with the rest of the pack here, because honestly, like this league just continues, the players just continue to get better and better year over year, but yet Asuna still is involved in the conversation.
And what's so interesting is the amount of different metas and styles that he's had to play within, and roles as well. Now he's basically full-time as a secondary duelist alongside Team Latino, but you even just look back to kickoff where they were playing these double Senti looks. Now they're pretty much always playing the double duelist with the Phoenix, with the Neon, those ideas on the majority of those maps. This team has had to adapt through a lot, but Asuna has been one of the top performers in all these metas on all these different roles, and in this one has just been so good alongside Team Latino.
Yeah, it's one of those things where at the start of every year whoever's in charge of like 100 Thieves general management like has to say something, because people are like, wait, Asuna's sticking around here? People are always throwing the questions, and always the answer is, no, this guy is so consistent. He brings so much to the team outside the server, and last week we saw it in this.
And of course, you know, that experience has to help out, you know, some of the players on the team, like Vora, for example, younger player coming into the squad, IGL, and speaking of, as a matter of fact, we had Riv had a chance to catch up with both of the IGLs, right? Because you got a world champion on one side, and then of course, Vora going up against one of the best. Let's see how this one stacks up. Let's hear them.
I'm joined by Energy's Ethan and 100 Thieves Vora before their match today. I got a few questions. The lower bracket run is you're both looking to continue strong. What becomes kind of the highest pressure point of leading your team through a lower bracket run?
Honestly, I don't really think of like a high pressure point. I think you take it one game at a time, and these are the games that you're kind of here for, you know, like high pressure games, high stakes games, you know. That's what really makes and breaks a team, and yeah, it's a pretty big point for my team.
Almost the same. Feeling no pressure?
Yeah, same thing.
I like it. I like it. So my second question, I'll start with you. Looking at being an IGL, what is your main focus in the game? What do you like to know that's happening or being confident when it is happening?
Biggest thing for me is just giving my players confidence, and then just doing cool plays. I think in a server in a big game is the best feeling.
I like that. I like that. Vora, same question. What are you feeling when you're IGL in a game for your team?
Just knowing the ideas are free-flowing, everyone's building off each other's ideas, and things are bouncing around, you know, keeping the comms flowing, everyone's doing their part, everyone's doing their jobs, and that's the best thing I can do for my team.
Love it. Gentlemen, thank you for the insight. Good luck today.
Am I the only one watching that thinking Ethan's acting so nonchalant just to try and like get in this guy's head on the other side?
That's how I felt.
Yeah, you know, I feel good.
We're just gonna do cool plays.
I'm also thinking the real experience gap is that Ethan's been around long enough to know how to dodge interviews as quick as possible. Bro thought he was out of there after the first
Good job, Rib. Good job, Rib.
It is crazy that out of all the 4 teams that are still left in the tournament, you have like 3 legendary long-term IGL. Like you've got Ethan, you've got Valen, you've got King, and then it's Vora on the other side having to face off against a championship roster.
Yeah, and you know what, man? Look, the kid's here, top 4, that's impressive. So if anything, you show that you deserve to be here, but you're still going to be going up against one of the tyrants of this region, because MRG...
Yeah, it is wild. The way that they've ramped into playoffs has been really... The way that they've ramped into playoffs has been really incredible for me. I think that the starring thing for NRG is how good their fundamentals are.
Oh,
they
no,
are.
Sorry, my mistake.
That's one of them. That's one of them. But I think they have the best team fighting micro of really any team out there. And I'm not talking about the super fast-paced double dive rounds that you know someone like 100 Thieves for. NRG are able to make a map like Breeze, make a comp where their opponent's running double duelists, and make that seem controlled. They know how to react to your utility, wait it out, and still reply in a manner that is structured and is controlled, and that is so hard to execute on when the game has the pace that it currently does.
Yeah, and I think you primarily end up seeing that on NRG's defensive side of the map, right? Where they dominate control on their maps like you're saying, but then they give you almost no chances to take like 50-50 fights or unfair fights. This is a team that is great at giving up, conceding space when necessary, and then coming back to play together with numbers and to never really throw away rounds where they're up a man.
But Chrissy, you mentioned they haven't won a trophy in Americas. We have all the winners of this league laid out behind me. And look who's over here. 100 Thieves has won before in Americas, but our world champions haven't picked up that same accolade. So I think it does mean something big for them.
First strike, it's like the same thing as winning champs last year.
Yeah, you're so right. You're so right. Not just of making it to London today, but staying in the running to compete. And I have to work so hard to move past.
You really are, yeah.
But to stay in the running to actually lift a trophy in Americas, which they haven't had that chance to do.
The first strike, they struck first, Mimi.
Yeah, I remember that. I lived
and it's
it.
been
I
NRG
casted
champions for like 3 months.
You know what though? Something though to kind of refocus the conversation on Masters London, right? Because look, there is going to be a player here that's going to fight for an opportunity to maybe play in front of his own crowd. It's a big opportunity for Kiko here to be able to do this and to be able to do it with the world champions, to go and represent his own country. You know, even though he's playing for Americas, it's still cool and it's still something you want to achieve.
Yeah, and I think there was a big spotlight put on him coming in this year to NRG.
100%.
It's an NRG that just come off winning champion.
He's replacing Som.
And Som's gone now. You got to step into those shoes. And obviously he was a prodigy back in the day in EMEA, but I think especially stepping up, not just from playing like the smoke scroll from NRG, but playing double duelist on some certain maps. I think that Kiko has come into form, especially here on the Phoenix.
His stats have been incredible
Jet,
in the playoffs. Yeah, the Jet and the Phoenix, though, they've both been awesome. We're pretty likely to get to see the Breeze today. That's where he has just wowed me when he's playing that role. I think it adds so much to get to see him on that duelist. He's very aggressive. His op is incredible. It makes me feel like I am watching like old days EMEA when he's there. But he's been impressive on the Phoenix as well, on the Omen, anything.
Yeah.
He's just so flexible. He's slotted in absolutely perfectly to everything this team needs.
When you look back to 2023, when he was trying to come through Ascension in EMEA with Apex, he was the prodigy back then. And then failed to, ascend with that team, played over in EMEA still. Now he has a chance to go back and play a global event there. That's a whole different ball game. That is sort of him coming full circle if he's able to qualify.
Yeah, and he's going to be doing that potentially with, the world champs. It's a massive achievement for him if he's able to do so. But let's not forget though, right, on the other side, you have 100 Thieves. They're also game for this. I mean, I really don't know where this one goes, but I feel like NRG, coming into this one, you got to lean with the experience, but 100 Thieves are hungry.
You got to give NRG the experience. And I'd say it's similar to our first match, where it's like, if you're leaning on like history, NRG, just like G2, it should be an easy win. But there's something about the young guns this year.
There's something in the air.
Winning back in kickoff.